Hello, it's Raimi, and today we are going to be doing the mid-year book tag. I recently watched Sarah Caroli's video and she went over all these different questions, kind of just doing a mid-year check-in for what we've read for 2023, what we're liking, what we're excited for, and I thought that was so cute and I love the idea, and so I was like, you know what, let's go ahead, let's try it out. We're going to jump right into it. I will also put the questions in my description below if you guys want to do this yourself. I just think it's such a fun idea and I appreciate the inspiration. And I will also link Sarah's video down below because it was just so awesome. The first question is the best book that I've read in 2023 so far. There's two, okay? And the crazy thing is so when I was looking through my shelves, there are a couple like gaps because of course I pulled the books before the video, but I was looking through and I was like, okay, what are truly the best of the best, top tier, 6 out of 5 books that I have read so far in 2023, and there were 2 books that stuck out specifically. The first one being, I'm sure you're not surprised, The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. I've always been a fantasy lover. The genre that I prefer to read most has always been fantasy, but getting back into reading, I was kind of reading a lot of romance or YA and just, I don't know, just trying to find what books I was enjoying, and to pick up this book and just be so enthralled in the concept and the world and the characters. And the writing, Holly Black's writing is just so freaking incredible, and I constantly am mourning the fact that this series is over, and I'm so excited for her next release, kind of in the same world, following The Stolen Heir. So this book will forever hold such a special place in my heart, and it was such a great way to kick off 2023. Forever and ever and ever, Juden Carden will live in my heart so deeply. The next book is so crazy to me because I could not have called it, but the second best book that I have read so far in 2023 is Fourth Wing. Yes, I know. Everybody and their brother and their mother and their cousin and their uncle are talking about this book and saying it's so amazing. It's so true. It is so worth the hype. I cannot express that enough. I have not read a book where dragons are so heavily involved, not in this way at all. And so to get to read about dragons in such a cool way, the way that Rebecca Yarros wrote these dragon characters, the way that she wrote about the war college, the way she wrote about the main character, that she had flaws and struggles, and a lot of those being physical, not being able to keep up with those around her, but getting to overcome those in her own way and getting to see such an incredible character development and character growth. I don't know, the interactions in this book were either so heartwarming or had such a visceral reaction. So good. Those were probably my favorite 2 books so far of 2023. There's some honorable mentions like ACOTAR. The next is the best sequel that you've read so far in 2023, and that book is hands down A Court of Mist and Fury. This freaking book was so holy moly. ACOTAR leads you in such an interesting journey, and you get to know Farah so well in so many of her unique qualities, and this book, it's all ripped away and even more raw, and there's so much more you learn, and there's so much more that happens, and it goes in a completely different direction, and it completely alters the course of the rest of the stories and the rest of this series. This book was so good. I'm reading A Court of Silver Flames currently, so I can't give like a 100% definitive answer, but I think in the entire series, this is probably my favorite book of the entire series. I gave this book a 5-star. New release that I haven't read, but I really want to, and I did buy and I currently own is Happy Place by Emily Henry. I have seen so many people read this book. I know I'm a little bit late to the game with this one. When I bought it, I was in the mood for it, and then because I'm a mood reader, I just then wasn't in the mood for it. But I am so excited to read this book. I loved Beach Read. I haven't read her other books. I bought the edition that's all pink. So beautiful, absolutely love. Most anticipated release for the second half of the year. So, following this, Rebecca Yarros' second book in the series, Iron Flame, is coming out in November. Here is the cover, and here is the release date somewhere. I am so excited. Following the conclusion of this book and the cliffhanger that this book was, I need, it's not a want, it's a need, to know what is going to happen in the next book. Biggest surprise book for me personally is actually Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. This is the only book that I have read by Taylor Jenkins Reid thus far. I do have Malibu Rising, and I would like to read that this summer. This book was so interesting to me. It gave me so much anxiety. The writing and the way that she writes is so raw and so believable and so intense. I didn't love the story necessarily because it was so real, and the characters were working through some seriously tough and difficult and uncomfortable things that it made you as the reader, like, I had so much anxiety reading through this book. I was so uncomfortable reading through the majority of this book, but holy moly, kudos to Taylor Jenkins Reid for her writing ability. To be able to invoke that much emotion from her writing was just mind-blowing. I was so surprised by this book. I don't even know. It's so easy to read while simultaneously being so deep and like so straightforward that it gets so to the point and down to the nitty-gritty, and I was just like, oh wow, I finished this book I think in a day or two. I think it was 2 days, because I just had to know what was going on. Oh, favorite new author or debut to you? Well, I think honestly it's gonna have to be like the top 3. It's gonna be Sarah J. Maas, it's going to be Holly Black, and it's gonna be Rebecca Yarros. Those 3 were all new to me this year, and they were some freaking heavy hitter authors that I am so excited to be a part of their world now and to be reading their iconic books, and especially with Sarah J. Maas and the huge, massive worlds that she has created with ACOTAR, with Throne of Glass, with Crescent City. I am so excited to get to continue to read her and her stories and her writing, because it's just so incredible. With Holly Black and her new release coming out with the second book in the Stolen Heir, I've just absolutely loved the way that she writes fae. It's so special to me, because it's not only the typical beautiful fae with pointed ears and the high fae and like the everything's beautiful and attractive. I really like that Holly Black leans into the kind of gruesome and the kind of uncomfortable and the dangerous part of fairy and fae and in fantasy, and I really like that about Holly Black. So I've absolutely loved reading and diving into her worlds that she has written. And then with Rebecca Yarros, she just came and took me by surprise, like holy moly, and creating such a unique connection with dragons and people, and I am just so excited to continue reading her. Okay, a book that made me cry. There are a couple. The first one being Legends and Lattes. I thought it was so sweet. I thought it was so fun getting to experience fantasy in such a different way, and the fact that it was so soft and relaxing, like a breath of fresh air. There was more plot and more suspense than I expected, in a good way, in such a good way that it propelled the story. The conclusion, the last little bit of this book had me crying. Happy tears, sad tears, confused tears, and then happy tears. And so I would definitely say that Legends and Lattes is one of the books that made me cry this year. So good. I absolutely love the concept of bringing coffee into the fantasy realm. The probably top book that made me shed the most tears is ACOWAR. And I know I'm not alone in that, because I have talked to some of you guys about ACOWAR, and I feel like we are all in the same boat of how this book destroyed us, put us back together, and destroyed us again. This book has so many ups and downs and all arounds, and I am just blown away. The only thing that I will say about this book, which I've said previously, is the first half was really slow for me. The second half was like a slap in the face. It was so intense and there was so much going on. And that is where I cried through literally the entire second half. The reading vlog of me reading this, if you've watched that, you will know just how many tears I shed while reading that book. A book that made me happy. This book. So I am currently reading through the Harry Potter series for the first time ever. I know it's crazy that I haven't read them yet, and I call myself a Harry Potter fan. I know it's blasphemous, but I recently finished Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, which has forever been my favorite movie. This book made me so happy. It was better than the movie. I was so worried that I wasn't gonna like it as much as the movie, because I have watched the movie 10 million times. It's one of my comfort movies, but the smile that I had on my face while reading majority of this book was just so big and so heartwarming. And I just, wow, it was such a cool experience to get to read this book for the first time and to see the story that I know and love become deeper and more complex, and have certain things clarified and certain characters that you got to know even better than in the movie. And I just, 5 out of 5. This book probably made me the happiest out of all the books that I've read this year. Second to last question, we have the most beautiful book that you bought this year. That book is hands down this special edition of Dance of Thieves. It is absolutely stunning with the gilded edges, the foiling on the front. The map end papers are just stunning. And then the beautiful red hardback underneath. This is one of my favorite books of all time. I read it last year. And so when I walked into Barnes & Noble for no other reason but to browse, I think, and this was sitting on the table and my jaw dropped to the floor, and I was like, I was not planning on spending this much money today, but you are coming home with me. And then last but certainly not least, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? That is a little bit of a trick question, because I have an entire shelf dedicated to books that I need to read. So there is a lot, but I did pick out a few and I will go through them quickly. First and foremost is Red Rising. I have not really read many sci-fi fantasies, and I am actually planning on reading this very soon, and I'm so excited. Cannot wait to start this book. Next, we have Love and Other Words by Christina Lauren. I have not read anything by Christina Lauren. I've heard amazing things about this book, so definitely need to read this by the end of the year. Next, we have The Liar's Crown by Abigail Owen. This book is such a sleeper, okay? Because it sits on my shelf and it's there, and I'm like, yeah, I want to read that book. Okay, sounds cool. Then I read the description every time. Every single time I read the description, it's like, oh my gosh, I need to read that book right now. And then it kind of just goes and sits in the back. So I need to get to Liar's Crown. Next, we have a Holly Black book, The Darkest Part of the Forest, which I did not really The whole Holly Black universe is so interesting to me, and I did not realize that this book was part of the Folk of the Air world. So this is an absolute need to read for me personally. Nettle and Bone by Kingfisher. T. Kingfisher. Yeah. This book is such a little tiny read, so it won't be hard to accomplish, but the story just sounds so interesting, and I bought it a while back. I'm just really looking forward to reading this book, and I'm really excited to finish it before the end of the year. And then a couple books that I would like to point out on the shelf that I would like to finish by the end of the year. Babel by R.F. Kuang, Stephen King's Fairy Tale. I really want to finish The Kiss of Deception, which is another series by Mary E. Pearson that actually takes place before Dance of Thieves and Vow of Thieves, and Morrigan is kind of part of that, so I'd like to finish that trilogy along with Morrigan. Oh, A Darker Shade of Magic by V.E. Schwab. I definitely want to finish that one by the end of the year. So there's a lot, but those are kind of off the top of my head, ones that have really been catching my eye and on my radar for the coming of the rest of the year. I just thought that this was such a fun idea, and I hope you enjoyed. I think that I would love to do this in the years to come, just doing like a mid-year check-in and talking about the books that I've read thus far, kind of compiling all of that information into one video for you guys. And also getting to talk to you guys about what you guys are loving and reading this year, what has been your favorite book this year, what has been your favorite author, what has been the most surprising book to you. Just getting to share opinions on the books that we've read so far in 2023. I would absolutely love to hear your thoughts. Hello, I just wanted to interrupt this video to be excited with you guys. We kind of hit a pretty cool milestone recently. We recently broke 1,000 subscribers. We are at 1,110 currently, which just blows my mind. When I started this, I definitely did not expect for it to ever get to be over 1,000 subscribers. So that is just the coolest thing to me, and I couldn't do it without you guys, and I just wanted to thank you. I have absolutely loved getting to know you guys and messaging with you guys and commenting back and forth about books, and it's just such a cool connection point, and continuing to fuel my love for reading through this has been so much fun. In saying all that, I just wanted to do a little something to give back to you guys, and I wanted to do a little giveaway. I wanted to give one of you guys a book off of your wish list. So in order to enter the giveaway, you're gonna need to subscribe to my channel, and I want you to comment your favorite book of 2023 so far. I feel like that's relevant to this video, and I really want to know what you guys have been loving and reading this year. So yeah, comment your favorite book of 2023, and then please comment your Instagram handle. I'm going to be picking someone at random, and then I will announce the winner on Instagram and also message you. I'll send you a DM if you have won, and we can figure out your details so that I can send you a book off your wish list. You guys are freaking amazing, and I have just absolutely loved every second of this. Oh, I also don't know if I said, I will pick a winner and announce it on July 8th, 2023. So yeah, thank you and happy reading. Bye.